Hi, I'm Ashley. I worked for PILE for about 2 years. I just graduated in the spring of 2021 with a degree in psychology.
What makes you passionate about wanting to take on such a big project like writing all new stories for our simulation?
Well, the first visit that I did here with PILE was a teen dating violence simulation. And I remember when I was reading through it, I thought it would be cool if we could update it to include more relevant and modern pieces of technology and how that might be used. But then the more I started working on it, I found other demographics that we could reach with different types of research.
So can you tell us a bit about the origin of the stories? Like where do they come from, or how did you adapt them to fit our audience's needs?
So the original stories came from either government websites on their pages about domestic violence or teen dating violence, as well as just blogs that people wrote about their own experiences. Some of the stories are based on my friends' experiences. And then they were adapted in terms of the length and the word choice and intensity for the different ages for middle schoolers and high schoolers, as well as including recent technology and the websites that kids now are more likely to use, like Snapchat and Instagram. The two that stood out the most to me were the stories where there wasn't necessarily a whole lot of physical violence, but in the end there ended up being like a high level of physical violence, just because it shows that not every fatal or dangerous relationship is preceded by a high level of physical violence. It can start with just emotional or verbal.
Mm-hmm. So what was it like to take real stories and all of this information from them and then kind of transform them into this first person narrative?
It was kind of difficult to get the hang of writing, especially from the perpetrator's perspective, and understand that they're not, in their mind, they're not trying to be bad, which is part of what makes it more likely for someone to find it harder to get away from this person, is that they're not intentionally trying to hurt you, or that's at least what they tell you.
You mentioned a little bit that you had done a little bit of outside research. So I was just wondering, what resources and other research did you kind of seek out in order to make these stories more inclusive to a variety of cultures and lifestyles, as you kind of talked about?
Some of the research that I did was just on different types of abuse, so cultural specific issues, as well as just different types of verbal abuse, because it's kind of a generic type, just verbal abuse. So if you look into the different examples of it, I tried to include at least one example of each type that I found. And then that just kind of led into me looking into technology, financial, reproductive abuse, and how that could affect a teenager's life. I tried to include some of the predictors of violence that you might not think are as intense as they are, but stalking and anger after breakups are two of the big red flags to look out for. And then I also tried to touch on the fact that dating violence doesn't look any one way. It can manifest in a lot of different ways, which is why it's important to expose yourself to a variety of different stories so that you're able to truly understand and be able to help people in different situations. And in these stories, we also touched on the role that a person's social system affects them, so their family and their friends. So it can sort of help, even if you're not in an unhealthy relationship, it can help you learn how to be supportive to someone who is.
Right, and that's definitely our goal for the students who experience this simulation.